Alright, so you know who the Chishtis are, right? You've watched Jodha Akbar, not the show. I know nobody has the time to watch shows anymore. You must have seen the movie Hrithik Roshan, Aishwarya Rai, right? So, today we're going to be talking about those Chishtis. But before we start talking about the Chishtis, we're going to be talking about the general movement, the general tradition they were a part of. That is the Sufi tradition. Okay? Hello everybody, welcome back to Unimonks. My name is Padmanji Chauhan and I'll be teaching you for the CUET history domain. Today we continue with our 6th chapter or our 6th unit, Religious Histories using the Bhakti-Sufi tradition. So we're done with the Bhakti tradition. We finished the Bhakti tradition in our last class. We started with Islam, right? And today we're going to continue on with the Sufi tradition. So I've explained to you what the Islamic traditions had. Today we're going to start with Sufism. So the growth of Sufism took place in protest against the growing materialism of the caliphate. Alright? The caliphates had started becoming very greedy, okay? They were becoming very imposive, very authoritative, and because of that, the Sufis, a certain community, not community, but like some people decided that this is too much, this is not what Islam is about, and therefore they sort of left the caliphate, okay, and they started their own tradition, that was the Sufi tradition, okay. They laid emphasis on seeking salvation through intense devotion and love for God, exactly what the Bhakti movement was doing, okay, except the Bhakti movement was in the Hindu tradition, the Sufi movement is in the Islamic tradition, okay. Now, the development of Khanqahs and Silsilas. By the 11th century, the Sufis began to organize themselves into communities around the Khanqah, okay. The Khanqah means a hospice, okay, a building where people stay, where people of the same Sufi tradition stay, or same Sufi community stay, and they practice their traditions, okay. These Khanqahs were run by teaching masters who were called sheikhs or peers, okay, and they enrolled, their job title, their job description involved them enrolling disciples or murids and appointing the successors who were the Khalifa, okay. Now, when the sheikh died, his tomb shrine or his dargah became a center of devotion, okay. People came here on pilgrimage or Ziyarat, especially on his death anniversary known as Urs, okay. Now, outside the Khanqahs, okay. Now, some mystical movements were initiated based on a radical interpretation of the Sufi ideals, okay. They took on mendicancy, they observed celibacy, they ignored rituals, okay. And basically, they practiced an extreme form of asceticism and sort of disassociated themselves from established Sufi silsilas, Sufi Khanqahs, okay. They were known by different names, Madaris, Malangs, Kalandars, Haidaris, alright. They had different names and they were considered to be Be-Sharia, or people who did not comply with the Sharia law. Some Sufis were Ba-Sharia, they complied with Sharia law, but these people, the Malangs, the Haidaris, the Kalandars, they were considered to be Be-Sharia, okay. They stayed outside Khanqahs, okay. Now, I started the video by talking about the Chishtis, right? So, let's move on to the Chishtis. The Chishtis were very, very popular, still are very, very popular, okay. They're one of the most revered Sufi saints of the Indian subcontinent because of two reasons. Number one, they adapted very successfully to the local environment, alright. The local people accepted them wholeheartedly. Secondly, they adopted several features of Indian devotional traditions, okay. And because of that is why they were able to adapt to the local environment, okay. Because they took on certain Indian pre-established, that were already pre-existing Indian traditions, okay. Indian devotional traditions, okay. So, let's talk about life in the Chishti Khanqah. Let's take up the example of one of the saints, okay. The textbook talks about Sheikh Nizamuddin, so therefore we're going to be talking about Sheikh Nizamuddin, okay? He existed in the 14th century. Now, his hospice or his Khanqah comprised of several rooms and one big hall called the Jamaat Khana, okay? Now, the Sheikh himself lived on a little room at the top of the hall, okay? There was a little room on the roof of the Jamaat Khana. He lived there. This is where he met his visitors and his visitors evening and night, all right, morning and evening, okay. A veranda surrounded the courtyard, and there was a boundary wall running all throughout, okay, around the complex. Now, this is important because there was an instance where the Mongols were planning an invasion, okay. So the local people, to protect themselves, they took shelter in the Khanqah, okay. They took shelter in Sheikh Nizamuddin's Khanqah, and because his complex was walled, okay, it is another thing, it's a holy space, right? Nobody's going to invade a holy space. That is why, okay? That is why these Khanqahs became important centers to, not just for safety and for protection, but for attaining peace of mind as well, okay? Now, Khanqahs had an open kitchen called a langar, okay, and they ran on futu, or unasked for charity, okay. People from all walks of life joined the Khanqah, came to the Khanqah to become disciples, to attain amulets for healing, alright, little taweez that we still wear, okay. Mama still give us little taweez to wear when they think nazar lag gayi ya kuch ho gaya, hai na? So, amulets for healing and for intercession in various matters, okay. Any matters, familial problems, okay, anything that is happening in your life, you go to the Khanqah, you ask this sheikh for advice, and he will give you this advice, okay. Now, poets like Amir Hassan Sijzi, Amir Khusro, and the court historian Ziauddin Barani wrote about Sheikh Nizamuddin, okay. They were all disciples of the sheikh. You can see on your screen right now, I've put a little picture. That is a picture of the Sheikh Nizamuddin and Amir Khusro, alright? They're sitting in this little garden sort of place, okay? They're talking about something, having a little conversation, right? It's a little painting, okay? Now, apart from this, the sheikh and most of the sheikhs of the Chishti Khanqah, they appointed several sort of successors, spiritual successors, okay? And they were asked to set up hospices around the subcontinent. This is a major reason why the teachings, practices, and organization of the Chishtis spread so rapidly, okay? Because their successors set up hospices in various parts of the subcontinent, okay? So the more reach you give, the more followers you gain, right? We all know that game, okay? Now, if you're liking the video so far, please scan the little QR code that you see on your screen right now, okay? That QR code will take you to our Unimonks app, and when you download the app, you will get much more resource material than what I'm giving you right now, okay? We give you organized study material, alright? We give you live chats with mentors, me and my other faculty members, okay? We all give you live chats. We not give you live chats, we have live chats with you. We have a conversation with you where you can ask us your doubts, whether they're domain subject related doubts, whether they're CUET related doubts. We solve all of it for you, okay? Apart from that, we also give you domain related organized study material. I've already said this. We give you tests, we give you assignments, basically prepare you the best we can for CUET 2024, so that you crack CUET 2024 with flying colors, okay? Now, apart from downloading the app, you also need to follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and join our Telegram group as well, okay? So again, our Telegram group, we do the same thing. You can message us literally at any point of time, ask us any doubts you have, every sort of trivial doubt you have, and we will answer all of them for you, okay? And lastly, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, okay? Okay, thank you so much for your patience. Let's move on. Now, Chishti devotionalism, Ziyarat and Qawwali. Okay, Ziyarat, as I talked about previously, is the pilgrimage, okay, to the tombs of Sufi saints to speak spiritual grace or barakat. है ना? Okay, the dargahs of the 5 Chishti saints are very, very popular. The most revered one of them is of Khwaja Moinuddin, or popularly known as Garib Nawaz. Okay? The dargahs, sorry, okay. The dargahs are popular because of the austerity and the piety of the sheikh, right? Because sheikhs are known for their communication with God, for their connect with God, alright? And because of that, these dargahs became basically a direct link to God, okay? So, that is why these dargahs became very, very popular, okay? And also, dargahs were popular because of the spiritual successors of the sheikhs that the dargah belonged to. Okay, they were also revered. Okay, they were very revered by the people of the local community. Okay, these dargahs, they got royal patronage as well. So the first ruler to give his patronage was Muhammad bin Tughlaq. After that, Sultan Ghiyasuddin Khalji of Malwa also gave patronage, and finally, most popularly, as I told you previously, we can also see this example in the movie Jodha Akbar. Emperor Akbar also gives his patronage to the Chishtis. Alright? You've seen this scene, right? Right before he goes to get married to Jodha, he goes to the dargah, okay, to the Ajmer dargah, to seek a sort of answer about whether he should go ahead with this union or not, right? If you don't remember the scene, go watch the movie, okay? A little bit, tell your mother, it's for education purposes, mama, right? Okay. Now, a part of Ziyarat, a part of the pilgrimage was the use of dance and music, okay? Basically chanting mystical sayings, okay, in order to evoke divine ecstasy. You've seen this again, okay, in Jodha Akbar, the song Khwaja Mere Khwaja, right? That is what they do. They chant mystical sayings to evoke divine ecstasy, right? Okay. Go watch it, I'm telling you, genuinely, it's to understand the Sufi tradition, at least the first 45 minutes of the movie are very, very good to understand these traditions. Okay? The Sufis remember their gods by reciting the zikr, okay, the divine name of the god, and by evoking his presence through sama, okay, or performance of mystical music. You've seen this example, I'm reiterating it in Jodha and Akbar, okay? Now, the last part, languages and communication. How did the word of the Chishtis, of the Sufis, spread amongst the local community of India, of the Indian subcontinent? Right? This was because, number one, they conversed in Hindi. That was the local language spoken at the time. Okay? Apart from this, their compositions are seen in Bijapur as well. 17th, 18th century, you see compositions in the Dakhani language in Bijapur. That was in Karnataka, right? They were inspired by pre-existing Bhakti traditions, okay, of the Lingayats and the sons of Pandharpur, based on which they wrote stuff like Luri Nama or lullabies and Shadi Nama or songs that were sung during weddings, okay? So this is how they sort of reached out. This is how they communicated with the local communities to gain populace. Alright, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, any trivia to share, if you did watch Jodha Akbar, please tell me in the comments down below. And please don't forget to subscribe to the Unimonks channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.